Hello and welcome. My name is David Carson and I'm really pleased to present to you Free the Mind UK, a chat with a therapist. I've got a great guest on tonight, Catriona Armor. He's going to be talking about perimenopause. This is a brand new channel and I hope you enjoy the lives. We've got lots of lives coming up every Thursday, and we've got some amazing therapists coming on who are going to share their therapy with you and the benefits and everything else. But before I introduce my guest, I'm going to play the intro video. Here we go.
Not sure what therapy to choose? Free the Mind UK presents a chat with a therapist. Join us live for an up-close informal discussion of the various holistic therapies available, helping you make that important choice.
Well, hey, I'd like to welcome Catriona Armor. I hope I'm saying that correctly, Cat.
aka
Thank
you for having
Hormone
me.
Fairy. And today
That's
you're going to be talking about perimenopause.
Yes,
It's a fantastic subject. Go on, sorry.
A subject that many people do not understand, sadly.
Yes, indeed. I've been doing a bit of research about this myself, for this live. And yeah, it's a very interesting subject. And I'm sure there'll be lots of people out there are going to be very interested in your information. I was going to ask you, Kat, I'm always interested in how people get to where they are, their journey. So how did you get to become the perimenopause expert, if you like?
Yeah, long story. It started my interest in natural medicine, which happened when I had my daughter, and she became very poorly, and the doctors failed her. They also failed my dad at the time, and I lost faith in the medical system and turned to homeopathy and herbs to help my own family. And then when my father passed away, that's when I got, had the time, and the children were getting older, that I retrained as a homeopath and nutritional therapist. And then it's developed from there. I was seeing more and more women. So from 2009 onwards, seeing more and more women with hormonal issues, lots of anxiety and depression that could be linked with the hormonal issues. And then I started seeing my own symptoms of perimenopause at age 39. And that's when, I changed brands and focused mainly on menopause. So I've done loads of training courses in menopause and combining it with natural approaches, natural medicine, alongside medication for those that need it. But that's the short version.
Wow, it's very interesting. It's a great thing that you've got into, because obviously there's lots of ladies out there that are suffering symptoms, and sometimes they don't know that it's associated with the perimenopause.
Absolutely.
And and I can imagine that also creates a few problems within relationships as well.
Yeah, it's huge. There are, in the UK at the moment, Dave, there are 13 million women that are either in peri or post-menopause. And it's not just the physical symptoms, but many women, they don't feel like themselves. It can completely change them physically, but emotionally. And most women that contact me say they don't feel like themselves. 50% of women are depressed, according to UK statistics, and a third of those women. So if you imagine 13 million women in the UK, 50% of those have depression, and a third of those have anxiety. And it rolls on into the relationships. It's the highest divorce rates are in women aged 40 to 50.
Yes.
And sadly, the highest suicide rates are women 45 to 54.
Really?
Sadly.
Wow.
So it's linked. It could be linked very much with hormones.
Okay. Is it true? That when ladies go to the doctors haven't always been trained very well in these sort of symptoms, and they don't help them as much as they could help them.
Yeah, very frustrating, David. It's an optional topic that doctors can learn, and they don't learn very much at all about it. So many women go to the doctors, and now they're getting to see the doctors face to face, but many of them for the last 2 years have been telephone consultations. They're given 7 minutes to discuss their issues. The doctors tend to see perimenopause starting age 45 plus. And the doctors are looking for symptoms such as changes in the menstrual cycle, whereas most women that I see, it's the emotional changes, it's the anxiety, the sadness, the moods, the depression, and that can start happening late 30s as the hormones start to decline, late 30s, and the doctors dismiss it. And sadly, many women are just prescribed the antidepressant.
Right.
Which
Is that what
great
happens then?
Some women that can be the best thing, David, but doctors don't understand it, and most women do not feel heard or understood by their doctors. They leave frustrated, not getting the answers that they need.
Okay. Is there anything happening in the medical profession to sort of make changes to this so that doctors are, you know, are more aware of what's going on? You know,
there's lots of pressure. There's a few MPs and some movements in Parliament to get menopause recognised more as a mental health condition,
right?
And to get it recognised in the workplace. There's so much to say. I would say the last year, with a few celebrities speaking out, menopause has become a big topic. Whereas when I started sort of 6-7 years ago, it was nobody talked about it. It was very much a taboo. So the good thing is the celebrities speaking out, that is making doctors have to step up. But you know, I was doing some work with the NHS and doing a listening group, and the women are so frustrated, and the doctors just aren't stepping up, sadly.
Yeah, that's a crying shame, really. Absolutely. So what about, I mean, from your understanding of seeing your clients, what about women? Are they quite open about it with other women, or is it one of those taboo subjects even between, you know, women?
For some women are open. Many women have still got their heads in the sand, thinking it was almost an old lady's disease, or it means you're getting older. I think if you think back, David, do you remember the Golden Girls on TV?
Yes.
So the Golden Girls, when I remember the Golden Girls, they were old. I remember them being old ladies, and they would quite often talk about the menopause. Whereas now we've got the Sex and the City girls who are in their late 50s, 60s, but very vibrant, very attractive and sexy. So showing that menopause doesn't have to be an old lady thing. But so many women do bury their heads in the sand. Most women don't understand their menstrual cycle or their, let alone menopause, because we just weren't told anything in school. And our mothers, our generation, you know, us 40, 50-year-olds, our mothers didn't talk. It was such a taboo subject that we are uneducated. So some women are talking about it, others are completely in the dark, not having a clue that their symptoms are linked to hormonal changes and perimenopause or postmenopause.
Yes, indeed. And as a guy, and I can't talk for all guys, but it's something that we don't know much about. Definitely not. No. And it must be very difficult when your partner starts to show the symptoms, especially if it's mood swings and stuff. So I do
feel sorry for you guys. I do feel so sorry for you, because we're a complicated breed. We think you're a complicated breed, but with us girls and our hormones and our mood swings and outbursts and tearful, crying for no reason, it's a minefield for us women. So definitely.
I can imagine.
Feel sorry for you guys.
I was doing some research about this, and I came across a few guys that were talking about their partners going through this, and they found that there's lots of forums out there, predominantly for women. And I think the guys would obviously like to learn more about it, but there wasn't really anything for men groups. And I think that'd be a fantastic idea, actually.
You know, David, I was planning that. I am going to put together some masterclasses and some training courses, just short, keep it simple, just so that men can understand, because it's frustrating for us women.
Yes.
Women in the workplace, especially, so many women are leaving their places of employment due to stress in the workplace, brain fog, lack of concentration. They're getting put onto performance management. if they have, it can be female bosses, but male bosses or male colleagues that don't understand them. So yes, there is definitely a need for men to understand us women. So it is something, it's coming. So watch out. In the next, I think in the next 6 weeks, there'll be some help for you guys to understand what on earth is going on.
Well, that's really good news, Kat. Well done for that. I actually had a friend that was married for 40 years, really happily married. And one day his wife started to change, and she just upped and left her children and everything. And he didn't understand what was going on. And we're pretty sure it was to do with, menopausal symptoms. And he told me that his doctor actually said to him, if your wife would have had something for it, you'd probably still be together. I mean, that's not a cert, but it just, it just really shows you what can come of it.
I'm really glad that for the last year that it's started to it's talked about more, and it is getting into the press, and it's all over social media. So I'm really grateful for the last 2 years that's happened. I was doing a talk recently, and a husband came along to it. His wife had been suffering with depression, wouldn't go out the house, suicidal thoughts, and the doctors didn't link it to hormones. There was another lady that stood up and said she was early 40s. She said the same, life and soul of the party, but overnight just became deeply depressed, suicidal. And again, I spoke to a client the other day, phoned me, and she has a lovely life. She has a husband that's wonderful, a nice house, she has a car, she has a family, she works part-time. She had everything to be grateful for. Indeed. Yet she felt so sad, lonely, depressed, and she said she wouldn't do anything, but she had dark thoughts. And it's that guilt as well. As women, you have everything, yet your hormones just flatline, and you feel so, like I said, 50% of those women have depression or signs of depression, and it's not talked about. And women don't understand what's causing it because they don't understand their hormones. So there's so much education needs to be done. But there is things that they can do, whether it is going the antidepressant route or the hormone replacement therapy for some women, but natural approaches to diet changes, lifestyle changes.
Absolutely. And this is what I wanted to ask you. So what is your approach? How do you go about helping it in the sort of more natural way?
Mine's very different, very holistic. I do work with women who have gone the medicated route, so that are on antidepressants or hormone replacement therapy. So that's the doctor's route. The doctor's route would be have an antidepressant, maybe the birth control pill, which doesn't regulate your hormones, but they're told it does, the coil, or HRT. So that's the doctor's route, and that can work for some women, but many women do not want that approach.
Okay.
I tend to, with most of my clients, I do hormone testing. So this is another thing. Blood testing doesn't really work for women until they get close to menopause. So menopause is one day. It's when your periods stop. The very last day of your last ever period is your menopause. Before that, your perimenopause. And that, David, can take up to 15 years.
Wow.
So that change can start.
That's a hell of a long time, Kat, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I hope, it normally declines, the hormones decline slowly. They might do a little bit of a fluctuation, but they're slowly declining. And that's when you have to start listening to your body. Same with men, but for, men can go through the male menopause.
Yes.
But for women, it's, we've been, having fun, eating, putting stress into our body, and we have to start looking after it in our 40s and 50s. And the earlier we start, the easier it's going to be. So blood tests don't show enough information. That's why when so many women go to the doctors, they're told that the blood tests are normal. The blood tests are looking for a couple of hormones that don't elevate until you get close to menopause. That's your periods, menstrual cycle stopping. So I use a dried urine test, the Dutch test, with my clients, and that's it can be used at any age, post-menopause, perimenopause, pre-menopause, and it's looking at different levels of estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol, and that can be really useful. So once I know what's going on, that can help me to decide what that client needs.
Very useful.
So for many women, I do the hormone testing, and then for other women, it's nutrition, gut health, liver health, adrenal health is so important. It's in every illness, but in menopause specifically, so important to look after those hormones, your cortisol levels, making sure your liver is working properly, because your liver starts to make a few hormones as the ovaries shut down. And then add in, I use homeopathic remedies, I use herbal remedies and supplements. Plus, you know, now I've added in hypnosis, hypnotherapy for some of those women.
Fantastic.
So a real tool bag depending on what those women need. And it's very individual, David. Every woman is going to go through this differently.
Absolutely. I was just looking, Kat, I think we've got a few questions, possibly. Let's have a look. Well, hypnotherapy, they were just saying this work is so needed. Also, men need educating about it too, like we discussed. So that's all we've got at the moment. I'm sure we'll get some more.
And that's when you look at the hypnotherapy. There was a scientific study done by the, I think it was the North American Menopause Society. They did a study using hypnotherapy, and they found it to be 74% as effective as hormone replacement therapy, so medication, in treating physical symptoms such as the hot flashes. So hypnotherapy can be amazing for both physical and emotional symptoms, and you know, reducing the cortisol levels, and you know, releasing that baggage, because that's what we're going through the 40s. Menopause, another thing is women are starting to process their life. It's thinking about, you know, where their life has been, midlife, starting to almost like a midlife crisis. Where are they going? You know, so they're processing that. They're processing the loss of themselves as a woman because they've changed. Maybe they can't, you know, can't have any more children. So even if you've had your children, it can still be quite, you're grieving that. Or for women that haven't been fortunate enough to have children, they're grieving. Relationship issues, as we said, questioning relationships, your moods all over the place, maybe a lack of sex drive that can cause issues. And then stress from work, brain
There's a lot going on, isn't there?
And then you've got,
when you compact all that together, oh my God.
Children leaving home. So women do so much. We have so much that we take on. That we need to start putting boundaries in place as well, and taking good care of us. Having that time out for us is really important.
Wow, that's fantastic. I was also reading something about the bones being affected. Osteoporosis, is it, in some women?
That tends
Can you explain what that is?
Yes. So post-menopause. So once your menstrual cycle has stopped, and once you've gone 12 months with no periods, no menstrual cycle, you are classed as post-menopause. Right. That's when women are more at risk of diseases such as osteoporosis, so bones becoming weaker, and that's due to the estrogen. Lack of estrogen can cause osteoporosis. So making sure you're putting calcium into your body is really important. So, but not necessarily. People quite often think calcium is the dairy. You know, there's so much calcium in your vegetables, the green vegetables. So calcium, for some women, calcium supplements can be useful. Bone strength. It's walking is one of the best forms of exercise to help strengthen your bones. Weight bearing exercise is key too. So that's something to bear in mind. And the other disease is cardiovascular disease. Due to the estrogen is protective for our hearts. It helps to make our arteries elastic. And when we lose that estrogen, which is what's happening. So once we become, you know, into perimenopause, our progesterone hormones dropping, our estrogen is dropping, and as the ovaries shut down. And that's what's then causing later in life osteoporosis, heart disease. So that's where doctors often say, and there is some research into this, that taking hormone replacement therapy, which is adding in the estrogen, can be protective for your heart or your bones for a certain amount of years. But there are so many other things you can do naturally with adding in foods that are rich in your estrogens, adding in herbs. Black cohosh is amazing.
Wow.
It acts like estrogen in your body. So there are alternatives for women that don't want to take hormone replacement therapy, or that didn't get on. Some women don't get on with that. Or if they've had cancer, or at risk of cancer, they may be advised not to take it. So there are so many options available for women.
Wow.
Yeah.
If I was a woman, I'd definitely be wanting to have a session with you, Kat, because you really know your stuff. So obviously, you cover nutrition, you use your hypnosis as well. With the hypnosis, do you use that for the depression side of things? Obviously, the mental.
Yeah, massively. So for me, the hypnosis is very new. It's new to my toolbox. Very grateful to have been introduced to it and learned it. I've had hypnotherapy before and it's been okay, nothing great. So I'm very grateful that I learned a technique that helped me out. For me, it helped. I was grieving, so it helped me out with grief. So emotional symptoms, because as we all hold on to baggage from our childhood all the way through, and quite often we don't realize we're holding it. For me, I never realized I was holding grief so strongly inside me for the last 3.5 years. So for having that release was incredible. But it's enabling you to process that, because emotions get stored in the body, and that can cause disease.
Absolutely.
So I use it a lot for the hypnosis side. Anxiety, low self-confidence, that can be a symptom. So low self-esteem, low self-confidence as their hormones decline and they wonder who on earth they are. Weight loss, it can be great for that, as women start to, due to the lack of estrogen, the higher cortisol levels, we start to change shape. So go from that pear shape to an apple shape, putting the weight on around the tummy. So it can be really useful to help with that. Many women turn to alcohol. I know so many women that become alcoholics in their 40s and 50s.
Wow.
Due to stress and hormonal changes. So it can help with that. Yeah, I find it really useful for the emotional side of things. I've used it a little bit for the hot flashes and the hot flushes. Have you had
good success with that, with the hot flushes?
Yes, I have. That's something quite new.
Flushes.
It depends where you are. Hot flashes.
Okay.
Different countries, different people say different things. I have had use, that has worked, and enabling women to learn that, that they can do it themselves. Sometimes it's just breathing.
Okay, maybe some self-hypnosis as well. You could probably share that with them.
Teaching them. I was taught self-hypnosis 20 years ago or 24 years ago when I had my daughter.
Yes.
So
it's a great tool. I used it myself, Kat, hypnotherapy. And it's great. I use one of Carl Smith's techniques where I take people into the control room where there's loads of switches and buttons and sliders. So the one that sticks out for
that's the one I use for I use that one a lot for women's low self-esteem and confidence. Really? And also that works really well for the sweats.
Yes, I can imagine. It's a great technique, actually. Really, really good. Oh my gosh, it's so much information.
I know.
Very
it's a minefield.
It is. So what you sort of working on at the moment, have you got, besides the possible working with the guys, would you work, are you thinking about working more as a couples? Because I guess a lot of women come to you on their own. So is that something else you're looking at?
I've been working with a colleague in a similar field, and we've been putting together some retreats, so days where women could come together and spend a whole day learning, but also learning about their symptoms, because there are over 34 symptoms. Many women don't understand the symptoms, many women don't understand their hormones, so teaching them the basics around the symptoms, what to look out for, and the symptoms, the signs, and their hormones, and then teaching them practical tools like the self-hypnosis, like what foods to eat, what herbs they can put in, natural medicine. But we have had a few women have said to us that they would like to come as couples, so that their husband, their partner, could come in, and even if
Get
it's
a
just for
deeper
1 or 2
deeper
sessions.
understanding of it all.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
understand it.
That's
So
a great idea.
yeah,
Definitely.
definitely. In the next 6 weeks, you will see. So yeah, keep watching the Hormone Fairy, because I will be talking, helping out the men to understand what on earth is wrong with us. Yes, because
So
it'll improve it's going to improve everything.
Of course
improve
it will. Yeah.
family dynamics, the home life, if there's children.
Yeah.
Men that are working, understanding their colleagues. So yeah, that's the next 6 weeks. Very much going into companies, doing corporate talks.
Wow.
And men. But the biggest thing I would say is women don't understand the symptoms, and the amount of women in the last 6 weeks that have contacted me, I would say I have 2 or 3 calls a day with women who are depressed and suicidal and not getting the help they need.
You wouldn't expect that in this day and age, to be fair.
No.
It should be better than that.
Yeah.
And I really hope they start, bringing in some big changes in that respect. It's really important,
I do believe that, actually, David, they are going to start. It is on the national curriculum in the UK.
Yeah.
It's going to be added into the school. I don't know what it's called now. In my day, it was PSE or something.
Oh, right. Okay. A bit like sex education.
That's
sort
it.
of thing.
I think they're going to add it in there. But
wow.
I don't know how good it will be, because, as ladies, we're not taught very much about our menstrual cycle. So I'm not quite sure how much will be in it. But at least it's a start. It's a start to get children understanding, because many of those will have mums in their 40s, 50s that are going a little crazy.
Absolutely. I'm going to get my kids to watch this as well, because they're only young at the minute, but they're going to encounter it one day. So it's really good, really good. Hot flushes, Kat. Is there anything you can avoid to help with those things, like I don't know, spicy foods and stuff? I know it sounds a silly question, probably, but
so hot flashes, it's still very, doctors are very confused about what's causing it, whether it is the estrogen fluctuations, or a cortisol as well. The stress hormone can play a huge part in that, in raising your body temperature, causing that hot flash. I think 85% of women will have those hot flashes at some point. It tends to be, like, as I said, there are over 34 symptoms, and the good news is, ladies, you don't get them all at one go. They'll come and go. You'll have some, then they'll go. Sometimes you might not get any. So I think it's only around 15% don't ever get the hot flashes or the feeling hot. So every woman experiences it differently. Yes, but as you say, things like the spicy foods can trigger them. Alcohol, yeah, that's right. I came across that one. Many women find that they can't, they become intolerant to alcohol, or they can't drink as much as they used to, or they have to change the type of alcohol. So spicy food, alcohol, what's the other one? Stress is a huge part of it. Caffeine can be a part too. So I recommend that women have a food diary. So if they're struggling with hot flashes, even anxiety, it's important to, keep some sort of food diary. Women that tend to wake up, 1 to 3 o'clock in the morning, especially if they've been drinking and they're getting the night sweats, that tends to be a sign that your liver needs a little bit of TLC, because that's the time of the day.
Plenty of water, is that?
Yeah, it's the time of the day when your liver's regenerating, and Chinese elements body clock. So it tends to be, maybe taking some milk thistle in your water can help. Drinking less alcohol, drinking more water in general. The liver starts to process. The liver can take over making a few of the hormones when your ovaries shut down, but also the liver has to process so much. It's processing the foods we eat, the alcohol, plus it's processing the hormones. We need our estrogen, it needs to flush out of our system. So that having good liver health is absolutely key.
Excellent. What about, I'm just throwing this out there, what about intermittent fasting? Does that help in any way, or don't you know whether it does or not? You're not sure.
Very different for every single woman.
Give the body a rest and stuff.
Yeah, for some women it works great. It very much depends on their stress hormones. So when I do the Dutch test, the hormone test, and, you know, I have women that are saying that they're intermittent fasting, yet they still can't lose weight. They're putting on the weight around the tummy.
Yes.
And then I look at their cortisol levels. So in the Dutch test, we look at the cortisol levels over a 24-hour period. So I can see when it's peaking. And ideally, when we wake up in the morning, we want there to be a nice spike of cortisol to get us out of bed in the morning, keep us energetic throughout the day. And then we see it dipping down the other side of the mountain, I would say, later on in the day, so that it's tailing off to get us to sleep. And I see women that have got either extremely high cortisol, so they're stressed permanently, or, you know, they're waking up with high cortisol, so then they're, you know, wired, they're tired, or they've got extremely low cortisol and they're exhausted and they have no energy, and then they're not eating, and it's just further stressing out the body. So you think, if you're not eating, for some women that can cause more stress, or men, you know, because your body feels, oh, I'm not getting fed, so let's store everything that's coming into the body, because we're in famine mode. So not every woman's got to be different. It's very much about listening to your body, tracking your symptoms, tracking your menstrual cycle is key. So many women do not know when their last period was. So tracking symptoms, tracking and listening to your body. How do you feel? You know, if we're driving a car, David, I know nothing about cars. I know I can't do anything. You know, it drives. I can use the, you know, sat nav, that type of stuff. But a light comes on, I know that my car's got something wrong with it.
Of course.
And I take it to the garage, or I normally find a man that will tell me what's wrong with my car. And it's the same though when we listen to our body, and it's the same for men and women, is we need to listen. Any sign, whether it's a headache, you know, so for women, migraines can become really common because of the estrogen levels. Anxiety tends to be your progesterone is dropping off, and that starts to drop from your 30s, late 30s. Progesterone's very calming. It's like your natural Prozac in your body. So that's dropping. It's, you know, for some women, it's dry skin. They might have itchy skin, bloating. Any sign is a bit like your car lights, the lights coming on your dashboard.
The warning lights,
saying,
the warning lights.
Yeah, the lights, those lights, the red lights flashing at me. And they're warning lights that your body needs some TLC, that it's not functioning, because our bodies are supposed to function.
Yeah. So what do you see if, like, a lady starts to, obviously I might have mentioned this before, when they start getting the symptoms, what should they do? Where should they look towards in regard of help? I mean, would they go to the doctors first, or would they, you know, seek out someone like yourself, obviously?
Yeah, ideally, I would say, you know, unless they're really struggling, try and do some self-study, some self-help, find out someone like myself. There are so many alternative health practitioners, whether it's someone like myself that specializes and has a whole host of toolbox, you know, tools that can help a woman. Nutrition is key. For some women, acupuncture, reflexology can be amazing, hypnotherapy. So finding the tool that works for them. The biggest thing to start with is understanding what menopause is. As I said, most people say they haven't got a clue because they're burying their heads in the sand. So understanding perimenopause, because that can last 12, 15 years for many women. And then knowing the symptoms. So as I said, the doctor tends to see menopause starting or perimenopause starting on 45 onwards. So if a woman goes to a doctor at 39, 40 with these symptoms, quite often they're dismissed. And then average in the UK is for the menopause, for periods, menstrual cycles stopping, the average age is 51. Yet I'm seeing women age 55 still having regular menstrual cycles. So it's very much changed to what it used to be, David. So tracking symptoms is key. So knowing the 34 plus symptoms, and it can be silly thing. It's the menstrual cycles, the first one the doctor will recognize. If your period, your monthly bleed is either becoming longer, shorter, closer together, heavier, all those types of symptoms are really important. Then you need to know the unusual ones. So anxiety, mood changes are huge, depression, because doctors are dismissing that as a hormone imbalance. But there's some really weird ones. Heart palpitations. Many
Wow.
women don't realize the heart palpitations can be a sign of perimenopause as the estrogen's declining, and women quite often get referred to a cardiologist, which is great, you know, because we do need to look after our hearts, and it is best to get anything like the heart to get it checked out. But it is a symptom. Other unusual symptoms, the brain fog. I know women who have been to, you know, neurologists and everything, because they think that, and having brain scans because they think they have a tumor. So brain fog, that tends to be caused
what exactly? Kat, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
What exactly is brain fog? Is this when you just forget things, or
forget words?
I do it all the time, Kat.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's an age thing with me, though.
Yeah, it's forgetting words, forgetting what
I
you're
guess
doing.
you could confuse that with, actually, if you, as you're getting, you know, some women who are getting a bit older could confuse that with just
with
the
dementia
aging process.
Yeah, and it is the good news. The good news for the women out there is your brain does come back. So it's like you might go through a period of brain fog, and it's due to the hormone fluctuations. One of the biggest things it's due to is cortisol levels, your stress hormone. And I know, so 3 years ago, my David, my husband, died, and I couldn't remember a thing. And it was due to those, you know, cortisol levels, hormones being all over the place. I would forget words. I remember there was a box, you know, a cardboard box, and I couldn't remember its word and the word for it. And I just stood there thinking, what is that thing? And trying to explain to my friend to move the thing.
It can be really embarrassing. I mean, I was talking to someone the other day live, and I started a conversation off. I digressed a little bit. It was probably why, to be fair. And it just wasn't there. The words weren't there. Yeah. You know, it's completely...
It's the same for you guys. I mean, it could be cortisol, it could be stress. We're under so much pressure, we're doing so much, but diet is key. You know, it's making sure that we're putting in the good fats, the omegas, feeding, you know, for women as well. Vitamin B12 complex is so important for the brain health and the moods. So
of course,
putting in everything. So that's another reason, brain fog and the lack of concentration, you know, lack of motivation for some women due to lower testosterone levels. That can cause women issues at work where they don't feel they can stand up and do a presentation, or they're forgetting words and they're feeling they're embarrassed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it does cause so many women leave the workplace due to feeling
a
little bit crazy, to be honest.
I hate to say, but I'm glad I'm a man.
Yeah, I know.
But saying that,
I'm coming back in my next life.
Are you really? Okay. Well, I'm going to try it out in the next life. I'm going to come back as a woman, I think. But so men, I did read somewhere that men can go through a similar thing as well with the low levels of testosterone. Testosterone. See, nearly got that wrong. Obviously, probably don't have anywhere near the same symptoms. What's the difference?
So for men, male menopause, not much is spoken about it yet. I do have a feeling that in the next 5 years, you know, you men are going to want to have a bit more of a label. Like
share
women.
It all, yeah.
You're going to want to join. You're going to want to join our bandwagon.
Absolutely.
So male menopause is called the andropause, and it can really, for some men, I do know men that are really struggling. So lower testosterone levels, because testosterone naturally declines in men. It tends to, the good news for you guys is it tends to decline much, much slower. But it's the testosterone that causes the issue. So again, sort of it can cause the brain issues, the low mood, lack of motivation, lack of muscle tone, libido can change due to that. And it could, you know, why many men have a midlife crisis. It's not just us women causing you issues.
I'm of that age now, Kat, you know, so I'm
and men do have a bit of estrogen too, that declines as well. So you do have a little bit of our lovely estrogen that can cause issues. So I do feel, so I do the Dutch test, the hormone test. I can do that on men as well. So that can be useful. And there are foods you can put in for men. Men quite often get prescribed testosterone by their doctors. Women are really struggling to get testosterone. Depends on the GP.
Oh, really? Why is that then, Kat? Why is that then? Why are they struggling?
They're just not being prescribed it.
Really?
It's very hard for women unless they go private.
Is there a reason for that? Is it because of the costs with the NHS or whatever? Or
I feel my point of view is I don't think enough is known about it.
I see.
It could be cost, but not enough is known about it.
Wow.
But low testosterone for women, like I say, it's that lack of motivation, the lack of muscle tone, loss of libido. They can all be symptoms that can show that your testosterone could be dropping.
Absolutely. So if a lady or a woman came to see you, you'd cover exercise, nutrition, stress.
Yeah.
Have I got them all or not?
Yeah. So it is. It's a whole bag. So
a whole
it's very
bag.
much about thinking about diet, and diet is key. So
Yeah.
right foods, supplements, sometimes doing a cleanse. So some sort of cleanse, whether it is taking a product or cutting foods out of your diet, at least, twice a year, giving, like you would your car, you take it for a service or an MOT, whatever they do the same to your body a couple of times a year. Lifestyle changes. So putting boundaries in place, saying no.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do something, say no, be honest, be truthful.
Yes.
About how you feel, ask for help around the house if you're exhausted or at work.
Absolutely.
Ask your partner's family, children to come together. Just be honest about how you're feeling. The right type of exercise. So many women think that they need to do these big, long spin classes, cardio classes. They don't. Literally, fast walking 3 times a week. Weight bearing exercise is key to build that help build the testosterone, but also build that muscle tone back, protect the bones. Yoga, Pilates, so you're adding in the weight bearing, but also sometimes, if you're exhausted, the last thing you want to be doing is going and doing a spin class. You might want to go to a yoga class.
Pilates is much easier. I go to Pilates myself, actually. I really enjoy it. It's a great form.
But listening to your body, and then adding in natural medicines, so homeopathy, herbs, flower essences, like the batch flower essences are incredible to help emotionally for women and men. Just even batch rescue remedy, if you're struggling with anxiety, can be incredible. But there are so many different remedies in that batch flowers that can help.
Would you recommend meditation? I mean, would you recommend that?
Yeah, definitely. Meditation, mindfulness, slowing down, because that's bringing down our cortisol levels, and that is key. So if we can reduce our cortisol levels, that's going to help to balance everything. When you have too much cortisol in your body, it can block your progesterone. Progesterone's the hormone, as I said, that won't mean much to you, maybe, David.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Progesterone's the natural, your body's natural antidepressant for women, and it only kicks in to help. After we've ovulated, it kicks in to get the womb ready for a pregnancy, so prepare the uterus lining. But that hormone starts to decline first in most women. But when we are stressed and we have too much cortisol in the body, the cortisol takes over and it blocks that progesterone from being made, but also can block your serotonin, the happy hormones. So that's why meditation's amazing. Just calming down. Sometimes it could just be putting some joy, putting some fun back in your life. So it could be just switching off and watching something on Netflix or TV. It could be putting on some music. It could be dancing around your kitchen. It could be going on a date. I don't think most of us have enough fun in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely right. We live such busy lives, don't we? And there's lots of pressures on us. It's very difficult. I think we've got another question, Kat. Let's have a look here. See if I can show it on here. So I'm just getting used to full-on hot flashes after a full I can't even say that word.
Hysterectomy.
That's well done, Kat. Thank you. Interesting info. Thanks. So there you go.
Thank you, Kate. That's another thing. So many women have a hysterectomy. So when their uterus is taken away, and sometimes for most women, doctors will leave their ovaries that will make their hormones still. We're not almost ovulating. Once we get into our 40s, we don't ovulate every single month as our eggs are declining. But so some women are given a hysterectomy where the the uterus is taken away. Other women are given where they take the ovaries as well. So for those women that have a surgical menopause, so they go through a hysterectomy, they're thrown straight into the menopause. So no more periods. So whereas someone like me, I've got that 15 years to get used to all the symptoms and the fluctuations.
Yes.
Women
like
Kate
thrown
that
in
have
straight
gone into
away.
a hysterectomy, straight in. So, and doctors, I'm sure it's, I hope, Kate got a little bit more help. For most women, they're not told this information, that they're going to go full blown, that they're going to get the hot flashes, the itchy skin, the anxiety and depression will kick in overnight for some women. They'll start to gain weight immediately. They're just not informed of this. And it's the same, David, for women that go through cancer treatments. So quite often breast cancer treatments, they're put on drugs like tamoxifen. That puts women straight into menopause. Then later on, after their 5 years of being on tamoxifen, quite often they'll come off the medication and then they're thrown into a natural menopause again. So many women that go through breast cancer treatments almost go through the symptoms twice, sadly. Yeah, as if it's not enough to go through, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, tamoxifen, they're then thrown into this. And again, not enough's done told to these women. They don't understand what's going to happen.
It's Kate was just saying she wasn't told. She wasn't told about this.
Just lack of a real, it's so sad because there's a lack of education. I've worked with so many women who have had hysterectomies and been thrown straight in. Sometimes the women are given hormone replacement therapy. Other women are told they can't have it due to, depending on whether they had, polycystic ovaries or cysts, or they're at risk of ovarian cancer, cervical cancer, then they're quite often told they can't have hormone replacement therapy, or they're not told what other alternatives there are.
Yeah, I was going to say,
there's so much you can do, Kate. The biggest thing is, please don't suffer. There is so much you can do if you educate yourself or find someone that can help you.
Great. Yeah, it must be, like I say, I'm really glad I'm a man, Kat.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And as a male, talking with you about this, it's really enlightening. I mean, a lot of it I really didn't know. I've done a bit of research about it, and I was quite surprised.
Yeah.
What
I feel,
on.
David, it could help for other, I know you're talking to lots of therapists on this channel.
Yes.
But I feel it could be useful for other therapists,
yes.
male or female,
absolutely.
to understand, because it's like if you're a hypnotherapist, you may have a female.
You might see the symptoms and yes.
And if you understood the basics, that could help, or
it could really help, actually. Yeah,
so
I never thought of that.
Male therapists, just to understand a little bit, could really be beneficial.
Yeah. I think we've got another message off Kat. I think no medication, no HRT, and she said thanks. Bless her.
If you need anything, Kate, you can come and find me. I'm happy to direct you.
Yeah, we've got Kat's web address on the bottom there. So what? When I was looking at your website, Kat, you offer some courses, don't you? So do you want to run through those? What you do?
Yes. Well, I work with clients. I can work with clients mainly individually, one-to-one basis, because every woman is completely individual, unique. So need different things depending on what they're going through. So from hormone testing to natural medicine, whatever, like a whole tool bag, as I said. But courses, just even self-study, online courses is so important. Many women just want to know certain things. So I do have a membership. I have a sorority where women come together. Community is huge. We need to talk to women. As I said, many women are still burying their heads in the dark. So I find that often women can't talk to their girlfriends. They're at different stages, can't talk to their partners. They don't want to burden their partners. So I have a sorority where they come together. There's a Facebook group, but also lots of education, bringing guest experts in different subjects, not just hormones, but just understanding, financial, if a woman's gone through divorce, it may be that she's got financial worries. So bringing in things like that, dating experts, is a whole tool bag of things that come into that sorority, that membership. Anxiety, I've got an anxiety relief course for women that are struggling just with the anxiety or the moods. a 6-week natural course to get through the menopause with ease, because there is so much you can do naturally. And then a longer course, I do a weight loss, kickstart your weight loss balance, a cleanse, which I tend to do every season, just to, you know, give the body a good clear out, get the gut working properly, get the liver and the adrenal glands, bring everything down to a nice, easy, relaxed state. And that can improve things. So yeah, online courses or one-to-one.
Absolutely, and they can find you on the web address
will be up and running soon to help you guys.
Hey, well, I'll check it out. I mean, I'm lucky. My girlfriend, she's pretty much been through the menopause, perimenopause, should I say. She's had all her hot flushes and stuff, and she seems to be sort of okay at the moment. So
yeah. It tends to go fluctuations, so you know, depending on what's going on in life.
It's funny,
you know,
Kat, actually, you just said that because she had a hot flush the other day. It was she was the first one she's had for a long time, so she's probably not, like you say.
Yeah.
She's probably still.
Yeah, they come and go. Even, you know, tinnitus. Tinnitus is one of the unusual symptoms, and you know, I had that last October, November, and then it vanished again, and it's one that tends to come and go. Itchy skin, burning tongue. So some really unusual symptoms.
Oh my god.
Yeah, burning tongue, itchy skin. You know, itchy skin. It's almost like women feel it's as if they've got ants crawling underneath their skin.
Yeah. I had itchy skin yesterday, actually. It was probably due to the product I was using when I had a shower. But I was, oh my god! Every time I put pressure on my skin on something, it was really itchy. And when I sort of moved off it, there's no pressure on it. It was good. Not a nice symptom. That definitely not.
Yeah, there's somewhere, and again, women think they're going crazy because they feel, and they tell the doctor they feel like they've got ants crawling under their skin.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound good at all.
So lots of symptoms, but the good thing is, I don't want women. It sounds very miserable if you read the whole, you know, 34 plus symptoms. I've actually got a YouTube video on all the symptoms, and it sounds very, for any women watching, you're not going to get them all in one go. As I said, maybe 15-20% of those women will never get any symptoms. The fortunate 20%. But for other women, you might get one or two, then they might go, then you might get another one or two. The biggest thing is menopause shouldn't be miserable. There is so much you can do, whether it's going and getting the right medication. And if you go the medicated route and you're not happy with the medication, maybe sometimes you need to change it. So change it with your doctor if that's your route that you're going. If you're going the alternative medicine route, the alternative therapies, try different things. Understand your body, keep track of your symptoms, your menstrual cycle, and then see what's working. Keep track of your diet, your stress levels, your lifestyle. Listen to that body. And it doesn't have to be miserable. That's my biggest message to women.
Wow, I love it. I love it, Kat. I love it. I love all your information. I'm sure that people who watch this afterwards on the recording, they're going to find it really, really useful. Really useful. Fantastic. And I'd like to say to people that are watching this afterwards, we're going to be having different therapists on every week, like Kat, sharing information that's going to be really useful to you. So it would be great if you can like and subscribe on the channel to really give us a good start with it and get that information out there.
Yeah, share. If you're watching this video, share it on social media, share it with your friends, because the more women and the more men that understand the basics, the easier it's going to be for everyone. We'll all get on better if you guys understand us. It might be a bit easier.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So please share.
I will. Well, I think that's going to be the end of our talk now, Kat, but I'd like you to stay on after I go off live and have a little chat with you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But thank you so much for coming on and sharing this with the viewers. I know they're going to find it really, really, really useful, and it's been very informative, especially for me. And I'm sure there'll be some guys watching this, with their partners, so it's going to be enlightening for them too, and they'll probably think, oh my gosh, yeah, this is what's happening with us, and now we know sort of what we can do about it. So it's really, really, really useful.
That's the biggest thing. Just learn the symptoms, have a list of the symptoms that there is on my YouTube channel, the Hormone Fairy. There's a list. I have got a video with the 34 plus symptoms. If you understand them, then you might understand what's going on with your partner or with your wife, your mother, your colleague. Just understand, and it's easier.
Okay. And you've got a before we go, you've got a Facebook group as a Facebook page, obviously. What's your Facebook page called?
Facebook is the Hormone Fairy, keeping it very simple. So Facebook's the Hormone Fairy. There is also a private Facebook group. You can find it through that link. It's also linked on my website, thehormonefairy.co.uk. And Instagram, lots every day. I post some tips on Instagram. So Instagram's the Hormone Fairy, TikTok, the Hormone Fairy. And yeah, I work with women, UK, Europe, USA, Canada. So if you're
worldwide,
watching in a
really
different area, please don't suffer. Please get in touch. If I can help you, I will.
Fantastic. Well, look, again, thank you so much for coming on, Kat. And I really enjoyed it. And like I say, I'm sure people are going to really benefit from this. So
thank you for having me.
That's an absolute pleasure. You're the very first live chat on this channel.
I'm thrilled, and I'm so excited to see this channel. I'll be watching with eager eyes to find out what the therapies are around for helping my clients or people I know. So thank you for setting this up.
No worries. So we'll stay on for a second after I've finished going live. So thank you for watching, everybody, and those people that watch live. Really appreciate it. Really love your support for the channel. As I say, we're going to have some great people on over the next few months, and press that bell icon so you know what's coming up. Obviously, I'll be advertising talks anyway. So thank you for watching, and bye for now.